other than my 8 to 5 at Habitat, I support an organization called Tujiendeleze. And my purpose is to empower women, empower youth to take charge of their lives and their destinies by making deliberate, decisions about their lives. I'm also a minister in my church. I define myself as a product of God's grace and mercy. I've been doing it afraid also in my private life, and I am an aspiring agri-entrepreneur. I do it every day, doing it afraid, planting one tree every day, and also raising chicken one at a time. In terms of my book, my career has been mainly in the development sector. I would say development and the humanitarian sector. I have about 22 plus years of experience in the development and the humanitarian sector. I love community development. Something just lights a fire in me when we look at the impact to communities. So my book is around my experience working in South Sudan, leading on a change process at a time when South Sudan was very hostile. And I think at that time when I finished South Sudan, the dice had been cast. So the second part of the book, and which is dominated in terms of my experiences, is actually my time in Afghanistan and how I didn't allow fear to define me. Rather, fear redefined who I was. And I stepped into a space afraid, anxious, but just interacting with the Afghanis and the work that I did in Afghanistan, I actually came back bolder, stronger, and more resilient. I'll stop there because I know I'll have another opportunity to share more. Thank you so much, Celine.
So much, Jackie. Yeah, that was nice. It was lovely, and that you spoke about tree planting too. We should care for. Okay, if Naomi is not ready yet, we'll have Vivian do the introduction, and Naomi will finish us off before we continue. Vivian, welcome.
Thank you, Celine. Good evening, everyone. We're grateful that you were able to join us for this webinar. So my name is Vivian Ochieng, and I'm an operations leader who's worked mostly in the manufacturing sector and the food system space. I am a lead food safety auditor and a certified project manager. And much of my work, it's been 12 years of working. Much of my work mostly is based on, in case there is chaos in a particular setup, manufacturing mostly, my mission mostly has been to just change that chaos into something that is seamless, something that is scalable, something that is dependable that you would want to have as a business owner, as a founder, or even as a colleague. So I have done this in various organizations, mostly the private sector, and up to very recent an NGO where we were distributing food to primary school going children, a very noble cause, and it really pushed my limits. Currently, I am consulting, and so I am open for consulting opportunities with organizations that are in the food system space. In case you are starting up and you want to build resilient and scalable systems, I'm available for that. And as I do that, I'm equally open to full-time position in organizations that would want this resilience and this energy in just scaling their operations and maintaining them or streamlining them. I think if I would go to my chapter mostly touches on how I started off, like the wake-up call that came to me. For me, it was more or less like I was in a very safe place, a job where everything seems steady, everything seems okay. But then that was just it. It was silent, it was quiet. And so there was a nudge that came and it really rattled me and woke me up. And so in my chapter, I am very, very focused on just how I was able to take that rattlement and then channel it into something that has now put me to this place where I am as an operations leader, as a food safety consultant, and someone who is out here ready to just change the world one small step at a time. So yeah, I think I will end it at that point. Thank you, Celine.
Thank you so much, Vivian. I like that you said one small step at a time, which is something that I really find it in your chapter and I loved to read. I will have Naomi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to this webinar. So my name is Naomi Kimani. I am an accountant by profession. I hold over 10 years of experience working in accounting, finance, and administration. I also have a passion, or I realized I would love to go into coaching in terms of helping women to gain emotional and financial control, because that is something I actually felt it was a mess in my life. Like I would buy things out of impulse. My emotions were like everywhere. And that's something I'm working towards, becoming a coach and helping women in that sector. So my chapter was about reclaiming my voice. And for a long time, many people, if you ask them, they know me as the quiet one. And I will say fear was a major factor that held me back in so many ways. And it made me lose my voice. And writing this chapter helped me reclaim my voice. And it through a series of activities that I went through, they really helped me reclaim my voice, and I wrote about them in my chapter. And so, yeah, welcome, and I'm looking forward to this webinar. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naomi, Jackie, and Vivian. And for those who are joining us here on Zoom and YouTube Live, my name is Celine Chege. I'll be your moderator and host for today. Yes, it's so powerful to hear that the diverse journeys behind this book and that our authors have gone through. So let us go ahead and unpack the experiences and our experiences with fear. Jackie, I would like to ask, what is one myth about fear that you hope this book will dismantle for readers and our audience tuned in? Because I believe there are a lot of myths around concerning fear.
Okay, thank you. I think I would start by saying that many times we take fear as a weakness. That is one of the myths that is very common. When someone is fearful on taking action, we look at it as a weakness. I would also say that some people feel or perceive that when you take an action, you are fearless. It's just a myth. And part of the book, as you read, you'll realize that there are women leaders who actually were so fearful, but they did it afraid. I believe that action actually is what gives birth to motivation and not the other way around. So the moment you start doing something, even when you are fearful, you are actually building momentum, and that is how the motivation comes in. And it reminds me of the many quotes that I've seen in the book, but one that I actually like and what I've also included in my book is nothing in life is to be feared, but only to be understood. And I think once we remove the myth around fear being a weakness or, having to be fearless before you take action, you realize that there's nothing that you cannot do. All you need to do is to understand and come up with proper strategies to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And I love that you said one myth is that people who do it afraid do not have fear. And I had posed a question when you started. What is one word that comes to your mind when you hear the phrase do it afraid? And I have seen Jaylin Toretich says boldness. Yeah, and this is something that you'll get across throughout the chapters in the book, that doing it afraid is doing it boldly, taking that step, one bold step at a time, as Vivian says. Ali says courage over comfort. Yes, courage and doing it afraid goes hand in hand, and we love that. So, for those who joined us, kindly share with me what is one word that comes to your mind when someone tells you do it afraid. Please engage with me on this, and I will read out your comments. Thank you. So, as Jackie has given us the misconceptions and myths around fear, I'd like to direct this to Vivian and Naomi. Could you recall a moment where fear did not just challenge you, but it almost redefined who you are becoming as a person? And how did that moment shape your decisions and actions moving forward? And what shifted you in that particular moment? Was it mindset? Was it circumstance? Or was it because the decision was either too heavy or too light not to make it? Yes, I will have Vivian start and we'll do Naomi after.
Great. Thank you, Celine, for that. So I think mine was more of a kind of silence, which made me feel safe. And I was okay with just being there, and life was somehow happening. But then with that level of invisibility, there was a bit of bitterness that comes with it when opportunities come and go, because you are just comfortable, you are okay, provided you're existing, provided you're coming in at 8 and leaving at 5. So fear had kind of boxed me into that person who was silent and comfortable, but very, very bitter. And so one time when coming from a friend's place, and I realized we all did engineering, but somehow she's in business development, and she's using her skills in engineering to know to gain that technical edge with clients and everything. And now it set me back to ask myself, what is wrong with me, At some point, I thought I was grateful. And, like you feel like gratitude should be a good thing. But then you realize it's not that kind of humility or that kind of gratitude is because you are afraid to even dare and move out. So I had been redefined and changed into someone who was just existing, not really exploring or going beyond her potential. So that conversation or that particular meeting with my friend really, really was a turning point for me. And it kind of jump-started me into now starting to think, how can I now move from where I am? As much as I have been grateful and was okay with my current status, how do I then now just transform this and now tap into my potential and be someone that when I even look at, I admire myself. I'm like, okay, I am very proud of myself for what I am doing. And that particular moment is what now got me into, reaching out to someone else and them sharing their goals. At that point, I realized I didn't even have goals myself. So it was very hard for me even to progress because I had no, tangible goals to even work towards. And just that conversation and now putting up and laying down goals, making that decision to actually not be okay with being silent and being comfortable and being humble, which wasn't really humility. So that particular decision is what really made me now to progress into where I am today and doing it again, one little step at a time. So I feel making that particular decision at that time was a real game changer for me. Yes.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And you know, one thing I like is that your story speaks to Naomi in almost a similar way. So that is why I also direct the same question to her. What is that moment that fear challenged you and redefined who you are becoming, Naomi?
Yeah, I was hearing so much of myself when Vivian was talking. I was like, hey, Kwani, we are twins in that area.
Yeah.
Because for me, I resonate so much with what Vivian has said. Like, fear also made me silent in so many ways. It made me feel like I needed to be grateful with what I have or what I had. But that led to so much resentment. I could see people who are braver, or is it courageous, or people who can actually talk, go and give their views. Like maybe if someone wanted, let's say, more salary, you could see them just talk to their bosses and like their case, and they get out there with the amount that they want. But for me, I was like, I was held so much. I was held back so much by fear because I was fearing, okay, what will my bosses say? Will they think I'm ungrateful? Will they think I am not okay? Like, am I just stretching myself so much? Now, fear really put me back in so many areas, especially in my career. And even at home, I will say the same thing. Like you see, things are not going well at home. And then just because you want to maintain the, I will say the peace in quotes, you just keep quiet. But that also leads to a lot of bitterness and resentment. And that is not healthy. So when I realized that all these things are really not working for any benefit for myself, I decided to change it. And one of the areas I decided to change was to go for coaching. I would say coaching really helped me in a big way. It helped me change my mindset. And I would advise also anyone else who will feel like things are not going well for them, they can lean into coaching or therapy. Those are the areas that really helped me in fighting fear and actually see there's a way forward beyond the fear because it really holds us back in so many ways. Yeah.
Thank you, Naomi. And these are such honest reflections, right? It is amazing how fear, when first it becomes a teacher, a lesson. And from Naomi's and Vivian's stories, you can see that we most likely experience the same fear or differently, but we can take our pride in looking for help within each other and challenge ourselves. And I believe that each of you wrote from different life lessons, yet this book reads as a unified journey of doing it afraid, which it is. And I'd like to ask Jackie, which part of another co-author's story shifted and challenged your own perspective of fear and doing it afraid?
Thank you. Let me, have I unmuted? Yes. Thank you so much, Celine. All the stories resonate with me from my professional leadership and social journey. But there's one that really I read like 3 times because I was getting goosebumps, and that is Victoria Wanjiku's on how she faced and rose above her challenges. She talks about, how she even crossed the border with 4 children, all under 7 years, and, went and started a new life in a new country. For me, that was just courage. It was, doing it afraid. And if you look at the different stops and stories in between, from the time she left Kenya to get to South Africa, you realize that, it takes courage to even wake up in the morning and get into a train when you don't have money. So it hugely resonates with me. and just aligns with you know, the many conversations that we have and will still have around you know, doing it afraid, and the fact that there's never a perfect moment. You know, like you will never say, now I'm ready. If I do this, I have the money, I have the savings, I have contacts, I already have what will kickstart me for the past, maybe the first 6 months. It talks about doing it afraid, but taking calculated risks.
Yes.
I like the fact that, you know, she let go and just allowed things to flow. And the fact that also, when you look at doing it afraid, growth really happens in the uncomfortable zone. And it only happens when you have made up your mind in terms of what you want. I see her talking about never say die, that every day is an opportunity to confront and conquer your fears and your doubts and be open to new possibilities at all times. And when you do it afraid, you do it better. So I just love the way she brought it out and, you know, the conditions that she had to operate in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And think that you have cited Victoria. I'd also like to just involve Vivian and Naomi in this. What other co-authors have inspired you in doing it afraid? Yes, you have written about doing it afraid, but maybe this one has inspired you to continue doing it afraid more. So I will kindly request you to tell us which stories have really hit home with you.
I think I'll go first. So
Yeah.
I think there's a number of stories that have really inspired me, challenged me, shocked me. And I think Jackie, when I was reading your story, I was like, you took a mortgage? Even I was like, who does that? You know, that is like immense faith in action and really trusting, you know, trusting God and trusting your instinct and giving it all, you know, going to the deep end. I saw that, and then I go to the Afghanistan bit and I'm reading, and you're there, you're getting COVID, and now you're not even stigmatized that you've been isolated. You're instead celebrating, you know, someone getting you cookies and, you know, just getting that breath of fresh air. Like you had a very different perspective to, you know, to this whole scenario. Someone else will be stigmatized and everything, but you did not bring that out as stigma, but rather you were just enjoying and appreciative of what life was offering you at that time. So those bold decisions really got me thinking, probably what I'm handling is something that, you know, it's nothing new. There's people handling even greater things out here because that is a threat to your life, a threat to your Christianity, because you're in an area where maybe Islam is the, you know, the biggest religion, and probably it's going to affect you, but you were able to pull through to that. So I was really, really inspired just reading Jackie's story. And now when I read about Naomi, I was like, there's a lot to resonate to and to relate to. And I'm just like, wow. I think Naomi and I need to have a cup of coffee and just see how far we have come. And, you know, probably just, you know, I share these nuggets because there was a lot to resonate to. But I equally admired Khadija's story. Khadija's story was, I'm imagining I'm clearing Form 4 and I am walking from one school to another looking for a scholarship. I mean, at that age, that was just resilience. That was just her giving herself consent to go beyond. So these three women, those stories really went deep. They cut deep, and I feel like they should just propel me into. They will propel me into this journey of doing it afraid. And I feel like as much as fear is universal, it is actually how I respond to it that will set me apart. So yeah, I think that is what I can share for now.
Thank you, Vivian. And I like that you said giving yourself consent because we are going to hear next from Naomi. And in the book, she writes, do not wait for permission. So I'd love to hear her thoughts on that and who inspired her.
Um, I I said that you shouldn't wait for permission because I felt for a long time we are held so much by always waiting for someone to like give us the next promotion, to give us the salary increment, to give us the best next life. But that will never come. You know, this life is 100% our responsibility. So the moment you keep waiting for actually someone to give you permission, they'll never do it, and it will make you feel stuck because you're always waiting for someone to see you, to recognize you. But I learned the importance of being visible, either being visible in your work by speaking up, being visible on LinkedIn, be visible anywhere, because visibility will really put you in an upper place, and it will help you to stop feeling stuck and everything. And the more you're visible, the more you're able to show up your work, the more you're able to speak up, and the more people will actually realize that you are there and you have something to offer. So don't wait for permission. You just show up and give it your all.
Thank you so much, Naomi. I'm still with you on this. Um, you talked about permission, and taking permission often requires courage, and courage often comes at a cost, be it relationships, opportunities, or your own comfort. And you also stated that um, you had to keep silent to maintain peace. And what was the hardest thing you had to let go in order to act despite the fear, despite knowing that I'll not maintain the peace I intended to maintain?
Yeah. So for me, I always felt like for there to be peace, I needed to be the one to keep quiet. Like I accept things as they are, no matter how bad they are. I just keep quiet for the sake of peace. But you see, that peace was making me so bitter, so resentful, and it wasn't good for me or anyone else near me, my family, my colleagues. That wasn't doing me anything. So I needed to let go of that silence. Like I needed to speak up my mind, but speak it up in a way that is um, polite. Polite, I mean, not shouting and being rude to the other person. Just pick up your mind and actually pass your message the way you need to. I needed to let go of the thing that silence means peace, because it actually doesn't mean peace. The more you speak up, the more actually the other person will appreciate, and you'll need to like you'll maintain even more peace the more you speak up and the more you align. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naomi. So, as she tells us, do not use silence, because silence will, in the end, tie you up and build resentment within you. Yeah, so let us speak up and take the courage. So with what she has said, I'll pose a question again to our audience here on Zoom and YouTube Live. For YouTube, you can comment and we'll get to them. What is one thing you have had to let go to grow? Because growth does not just happen without losing a few things. So, what is one thing you have had to let go to grow? Engage with me on this, and I will read out your comments and interact with you. Kindly, Helen, mute your mic. Just a minute, everyone. Yes. We are good to go. As I said, what is one thing you have had to let go to grow? This is to the audience and to everyone that is part of us here. And also, this also tells us that your stories do not just stand alone, but weave into each other, and is proof that courage is indeed contagious. And for Vivian, many people will start bravely, but lose momentum along the way. Like I'll wake up, I'll say, I'll let me wake up today at 5 a.m. I'll do it for 2 days or 3 days, get tired, and go back to my routine of waking up at 7 a.m. So, what word would you give out to people to be able to sustain the courage and doing it afraid, and maintain the consistency over time?
Great. I think I'll start it off from someone who is normally into systems implementation and food safety systems. We normally say if you do not document it, then it did not happen. And so I would start, the biggest point would be to first of all document what you actually want to do. And if you want to be a public speaker and you document it, and so it is the how will I be able to do this? So you list down the how. And if this how involves you probably attending those sessions to just see how people are doing it, watching YouTube tutorials, engaging someone, a peer, a mentor, a coach, doing that. And then when you have that done, you actually, I think it's important to have someone hold you accountable. It could be someone that you really look up to and they are open to actually holding you accountable. So having that accountability partner would remind you how far you go, how far are you with this? When are we watching you? When are we coming to your public speaking event? So this would kind of put you on your toes, and you would equally feel obligated. But deep down, I feel that drive, when you have it and you want it so bad, you would equally go at lengths to just have this accomplished. So I would say if you want to achieve something, if you want to do something, put it down, put a timeline onto it, track it if you can. And if you feel like, okay, I'm going to be failing in this and I need someone to hold me accountable, reach out to 2, 3 people, let them hold you accountable. They wouldn't let you down. So I would pass that as a nugget that has actually worked for me. And I have seen with the community coming in to support you in meeting some of these goals, I think you should be able to overcome some of these obstacles that you have.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And I like that you said if you have something you want to do, make sure you have someone to be accountable to, so that they keep you in check, keep you on track. And also, yes, you may set goals and steps and want to do it afraid, but if you don't do it realistically, like you said, put it down, write it down, note it somewhere. That will always remind you I have something to do. Have a tracker and a timeline. Like when in work, KPIs. Have something that will ensure that you're doing this. I've done step 5, now I'm going to step 6, and so on and so on. So with that, it will help us to maintain the momentum that we start with, because we're not always consistent and we're not always at 100% in life, but having someone help you maintain the momentum will keep you at a manageable level towards what you're working on. And in the chat box, I have a few comments. Have Lydia saying, "Congratulations, girls, for doing it afraid. I love what I'm hearing." Thank you so much, Lydia. We love that you love what you are hearing. And she also says, I celebrate her. I relate with Naomi. Permission is within. Like we said, do not wait for someone to give you permission. Take it. If it's yours to take, take it. Don't wait for it. Advocate for it. And she has learned this the hard way. So she experienced that if you do not advocate for yourself, no one else will. And create boundaries. Creating boundaries as well costed me at first. Yeah, as much as we do it afraid, let us also remember boundaries are give align to what we can do, what we can receive, and what we cannot receive. They set the precedence of what or how someone will treat you. Yes. Thank you so much, Lydia. Thank you for engaging with us. And also to remind you of the question that I had already posed. What is one thing you have had to let go so that you can grow? Yes. And with that, I'll ask Jackie this question. In your experience, as someone who has worked in places not many would like to go to, Sudan, Afghanistan, and having to experience COVID there, away from family, before making that big step, because I read that those are moments of hesitancy before accepting the job to Afghanistan. How was you clinging to safety, or what you knew kept you stuck? Was there a safe choice you had to? Was there like a process you had to unlearn to embrace going there, to embrace the growth that was to come with this opportunity?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it took me about I would say about 5 weeks for me to accept the offer and start working on my visa to go to Afghanistan. Yeah, and in that moment, I was really stuck to, just being in the comfort zone. And, it was at a point where something had happened and the Taliban, who were perceived to be in Pakistan, had invaded into Afghanistan. And I was, like, the biggest was really the fight over my inner voice. Yeah, every time I would think about it and I would just imagine the worst. So I really had to go into a moment of reflection and just silence my inner voice and look at the bigger picture in terms of what does this mean for me from a career perspective, from a growth perspective, and even just the exposure in terms of the subcultures and the cultures that I will be exposed to. And that kind of started now giving me a moment to just reflect, what else do I need to do? And then what is the cost of my indecision in terms of the opportunity that I'm going to lose? And I just reflected that, many opportunities would come once. And I felt that this was an opportunity for me to stretch myself and but also to tap into my networks. So looking at who could be in Afghanistan from Kenya, from my network within the, within the humanitarian sector. Yeah, but I think the most thing that I had to give up was actually the indecision, because I had to make a decision. And just making the decision to say, yes, I will go. I remember my dad is retired. He's about 86. And I remember when I told him I'm going to Afghanistan, he asked me, what currency are you looking for? Like, is it dollar? Is it euros? Is it pounds? What are you? And I said, you know what? It's the love for the work. It's the the community work. But also this is going to give me a totally new experience. And one thing about me is I love disruptions. So like I was feeling, in as much as I had that fear, I wanted to just do it afraid, and also just go into the disruption of it's a totally new thing and that. Yeah, so I would say the biggest was to silence my inner voice, to look at the opportunity as something that might never come. And the truth of the matter is it may never have come, because I left Afghanistan and exactly 1 month, the Taliban attacked the presidential palace. So you can imagine after that, it has never been the same. We still have NGOs that are operating in Afghanistan, but under very strict rules because of the Sharia law. Yeah, so it was an opportunity that I had to make a decision and just move to it. So I had to let go my fear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And what I'm getting is that courage is not a one-time thing or something you just wake up and say, I have courage today, let me do this. It's a muscle, like they will build muscle memory. It's something that we build and sustain over time. And as Vivian said, you have to create a system and a routine to always practice courage. Hadija, in the previous session, said that confidence is something she practices every day. She said that she did not wake up one day and decide to be confident. She started by doing little steps that will boost her confidence, and it became a ritual to her that goes in hand with courage. And to know me, there are seasons where fear becomes silence, and your fear has been silenced. I know now it's not silent, but your fear has been silent. It did not shout, it whispered for the longest time. That is how you introduce us to a chapter. As overthinking, it whispered as perfectionism and even humility. You saying, I should be grateful, I have healthy children, I have a good job, I have salary, I am healthy. telling you not to question why I am not moving, why am I not pursuing things the way I want. So for you, how did you learn to recognize this fear? How did you know at that particular moment in time that the silence that was speaking within you was fear? And how did you navigate it?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, I recognize that that was fear when I realized that uh, people are actually moving forward in doing what they want, and I'm still being held back, not doing whatever dreams I have, not achieving the goals I had, just because I was afraid of what people will say. Kwanza, that term, what will people say, really makes people to be held back so much. So and that is fear in a very big way. Well, I realized that that is really holding me back. It was making me say, I should just be grateful for my job, for my family, in whatever state it was in, and I should not move forward. It really held me back in a big way. So I learned to recognize that that feeling of what will people say was a form of fear, and I chose to go against that. And I want to thank my coach. My coach really helped me in a big way in getting out of that shell that I was, because I felt like I was being held back in many ways. And I also started posting on LinkedIn in a way of fighting fear. And I was very vocal in that, and so many people resonated in that. I know there are not many people who would like post on a daily basis saying maybe something they fear, something that has held them back. But immediately when I started posting, I was like, oh my God, what will my bosses say? What will my colleagues say? What will people around me say? But I chose to fight that feeling of what will people say, and I went ahead. And through that, I was able to find my voice, and it really helped me in a big way. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Naomi. And I like that you said finding your voice. This goes in hand with Jackie writing about finding your why. And I believe in our first session, I said that someone once told me that if you find the purpose or your why in life, it gives you the chance to have a more fulfilling life and doing it boldly and doing it afraid regardless. So finding your why, your voice, and your purpose all works hand in hand to making better choices for us all. And for the question that I had posed, I have received some feedback. Ali says unfulfilled dreams. Yes, she had to let go of unfulfilled dreams as to grow. Do not be stuck on something so much that you forget there are other ways to move and grow. Life isn't always linear. You can use different routes as long as it's right to get to where you want to go. And Purity Adika says bad habits. And this is actually very powerful because a lot of us here, the panelists and the audience listening in, have bad habits. They're not usually huge things, they're small, like procrastination. You're putting something so small as writing your to-do list and say, I'll write it later, and then you forget you have to do something else. Or say, let me read a chapter of a book today. You're supposed to read it at 8:30. You say, no, it's just one chapter. I'll read it at 10. Procrastinating is among the bad habits that we have to let go to grow. We have two of our co-authors in the meeting with us. I would like to recognize them. We have Teresia Ombugu and Josephine Osumo. Later on, I'll kindly invite you to chime in and say a word and say hello to us as you continue the session. Thank you for being part of us today. Yes, and also Lydia says childhood trauma. Yes, this is something sensitive as well as something that needs to be addressed. A lot of us have trauma from when we were kids, and we cling to it so much that it affects the decisions we make. We say, what if I go through this again? What if I do this again? What if? So we should not let things like trauma affect the trajectory of our life. Yes, and I will expand more on that. And I would like to speak about community, and Vivian had said about accountability. And I believe accountability does not come alone, it has someone there, a community or people who help us do that. So, how does community or shared vulnerability play a role in helping us navigate fear and doing it afraid? This is for Vivian.
Okay. So I think community is very, very instrumental. It kind of helps to even out the friction or the chaos that normally cloud your mind when you're afraid or when you're scared to try out something. And it is this same community that could equally make it very, very hard if at all they're not very receptive of what you're daring now to do, because of now you've grown out of your fear. Now you know the boundaries that we probably have to put in place as you evolve, in this journey. So I think community has been very instrumental for me. I think I credit it to when I reached out to a friend to actually rant, and then she hits you with what are your goals, what do you want to achieve, and then you realize you actually have no goal, you are very comfortable, you are okay. And so it's like, how do you expect to move forward when you don't even know where you're moving to? And you see that nudge, that reality coming from someone that you expect would be like, oh yeah, that kind of a situation, and they're just giving it to you hard. It is a reminder that there are people to support you in this, and they are willing to take it, with you for the long haul. And her sharing with me her log, like her plan. This is my plan. This is how it looks like. I plan to achieve this in a month, this in 3 months. And then I'm reviewing this every other month or every other 3 months. If I'm not hitting it, I'm reaching out to someone to see how best I can be able to reach out to solve this up. So that aspect of community really like comes through to support you, to build you, to actually even tell you and validate that your fear is not just a unique thing with you, but there's a way that you can be able to navigate it. And I think I would want to take it back to when I got a role at the church, and now this is a church that I have not like been going there for like a very long time. I'm not like a staunch, if I may say that. And now you're coming in at an executive role, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this every other Sunday? I can't even hold small talk. How am I supposed to, how am I supposed to be approached by people and maintain a smile through and through? And then you realize that the people around you to support you. I got other leaders and they were telling me, it's okay, we will hold your hand. You just take the baton and move forward. And that support has really like transformed me. Initially, it was fear, and now it's a transformation that has even bled now to my career, to my professional space. And I really appreciate how the community has been able to build me. So I think it would be important for anyone that you feel like your case is isolated, reach out. There's definitely someone who's probably gone through that, or someone who can help you navigate it, not maybe because they went through it, but they know how you can be able to navigate it. So never underestimate the power of the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And I like that you said never underestimate the power of community. And one of our authors is very passionate about networking. Teresia. Hi, Teresia. Can you say hi back?
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi.
Great to join this. Yeah, for having joined this session. I truly appreciate the conversations here are quite powerful. I've been listening in and I am just wowed. Thank you very much, Celine.
Thank you. Thank you. Just don't go yet. It's just like you to build up on what Vivian said about community and the people around you, because this is something you spoke about a lot. And just tell us more on that briefly.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I really appreciate what Vivian has said, and it is more or less what I can say. And it's a testament of, the journey that I have walked. For me, from a career progression perspective, what has really worked is that networking piece. And it's always been those ones where naturally it's the very simple things such as putting a smile on my face, saying hello to others, and then asking questions. It can be you say hello to someone, see Celine walking through the corridors and ask, "Oh, are you heading out for lunch? Is this the time you head out for lunch? What are you having? Can I sit with you? Can I enjoy a meal?" And when you're having conversations like this, something pops up. Someone will tell you, I'm really struggling with this. I mean, at work, we're trying to sort out one or two things. We're trying to implement this and that. And you share ideas, and one thing leads to another. That has been my story. And it's also been my story of just ensuring I'm also just talking to people outside my team. And again, just sharing ideas when I can, or even when I don't, I feel I don't have much to contribute. I just listen to what they tell me. And when I listen, I just repeat, okay, so you said this is a challenge, but okay, I've seen this work in my space. I don't know if it's what is going on in yours, but this and this has helped us. And you'll be surprised at the wealth of knowledge you have in your space. Sometimes you feel small, you feel like you have nothing to contribute, but trust me, you do. But it's that one for boldness. It can be the simple hello, is what I'm saying. Often at times we believe that you have to get into this very formal networking session for it to work, and then you're getting in with all the nerves. You don't know how it's going to go. You are probably an introvert. You just don't know how to begin. It doesn't have to be that formal setup. It can just be something simple. Start, and I'm telling you that will really build you up. And when it comes to community, for sure, I am a product of community. I'm a product of people who tell me, Teresia, this is not you. In fact, today I just got a similar feedback, and I was like, no. Yesterday, I think you just had a bad day. But that's not you. You usually do this quite well. Maybe it was, and I was saying, oh my goodness, thank you for telling me, because I also found that I was struggling with a certain presentation, and I was like, but you've noticed that, yeah? Where did you feel like I dropped the ball? And they would go on and tell me, oh, I feel like it is this, it is that. In a previous presentation, this is what you did, and I think maybe next time, let me keep you honest and do this for you. Then I'll let you know. When you say this, I'll just cough, or I'll do this. And imagine that's already an accountability partner right there. It doesn't have to be anything formal, but that is someone who's trying to make me better. So leverage on community. It can be the small things. It can be that one person who tells you maybe this thing is not working well, or it can be the person who cheers you on. And especially those people, they really help. Someone who will tell you, today I really love how you said this. I really appreciated how you thanked me on this. And it's a pat on the back, and it keeps you going. That is fuel that, will take you from one level to another. So leverage on the people that you have. It's important to do a networking or audit mapping where you ask yourself from a peer perspective, who do I know? Who can I rely on? Who do I need to know? From maybe a mentor perspective, who do I know? Who do I need to know? And other stakeholders as well. Maybe when it is leaders within your organization or your space, or even if you're an entrepreneur, then who do I need to know in my space? It's really important for you to sit down and reflect about that. Thank you very much for the time, Celine.
Thank you so much, Teresia and Vivian, because people really think that, yes, I'm doing it afraid, I can do it alone. Support and community really matters. Like Vivian stated, she took an executive role, and I believe you said someone called you a university graduate. Yes, because you're so young, and you stated that the previous executive had offered support until you're ready to continue doing it alone. And so community most times help us with that. And to Jackie, because I feel like you're a mother to me, Fear at 20 is usually not the same fear as 40 or 60 or 70. How has your relationship with fear evolved with age, responsibility, and leadership, and also all the knowledge and wisdom that you have gained through your experiences in life and work?
Okay, thank you. And just allow me to acknowledge my daughter is also in the room. So she's one person who will tell you, Mama does it and says,
Yes.
Roho juu Mungu mbele. So, yes, and thank you, Clarice, for joining. I would say that when I reflect on my growth, right from the time in my 20s into, in my 40s now, I would say in your 20s, or rather in my 20s, there was a lot of fear of, not getting a career and something that I can stabilize in as a professional. There's also the fear of losing identity, actually. You're like, okay, so I finished college, what is next? There's a fear of delayed settling down, like what happens? I would want to settle down, I would want to have children, I would want to, raise a family. There's a fear that, just comes, you see the years are going and, and you want to settle down and do other things. And I think that goes also into your 30s, just the fear of a lack of stability. You are like, okay, I've been doing this job. I'm still in a junior position. I'm not able to make ends meet. What happens? How do I create that stability? How do I define my career? There's also the fear of wanting to, just start on projects, wanting to define your career, but also start stabilizing as, in your personal life. They say that life starts at 40, but there's also a big fear once you turn to 40 because you are also realizing that you are at the peak of your career. I remember actually, like for me, I went into the field assignments when I was in my early 40s. And, it was also the fear of what happens after all this is done. When I'm in my 60s, how do I want to see myself? Yeah, so there's the fear of, the stability in your career, but also the fear of, am I going to be stable enough that I will have something tangible that will carry me through into my old age? There's also the fear of, the people around you. Like at 40s, you actually want to protect what is so, close and special to you. And it starts with family. It starts with now a career that you've built many times. Like when I was in my 40s, I would reflect, I'd worked for about over 15 years. So like, just wanting to protect that, experience and the resilience that I've built over time. So there's just that fear, especially when there's instability, like in the NGO sector. You are like, okay, if I lose my job now, how am I going to work it out and enter into another job? The fear of wanting to have the alternative, like the side, this side hustle. So I would say that 40s and 50s define a lot. Of course, I'm not yet there. But when I look at where I've come from and getting into my 40s and looking forward into my 50s and 60s, one of the things that, and I've seen it in many people, like in my mentor, my coach is about 67. And, say, okay, the biggest fear, is how do I consolidate my experiences, my resilience, my journey of resilience into something that I can leave as a legacy. And when you get into your 60s, and that's why, some of us are looking into getting into agriculture and agri-entrepreneurship, is looking at the fear of losing that structure of a job. And looking at, okay, so what do I do after 60 or after 65 when I retire? And then the fear of lacking a system that can actually sustain you beyond what maybe your employer is supporting you with, for example, medical, the fear of not having a pension and that. And I think the biggest is the fear of lighting the candle to somebody else, which is basically, the legacy. Because for me, legacy is not just about, what we hand over from a material perspective, but people really understanding that Jackie walked on this earth. And there's something that she left. There are footprints that actually Jackie shows. It shows that Jackie walked on this earth. So that is a fear that, we are confronted with many times. And I think from my experience, it's something that really hits when you get into your 40s, because now you want to really build that stability and systems that will take you into your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Yeah. Thank you, Celine. I think I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And what you said shows us that this evolution in age and knowledge is something that many of us will relate to for the young people in the house. And the older we grow, the more layered our fear becomes. But also, if we decide, the deeper our courage can take root. You must not let fear decide for you. It should not be a roadblock in your journey. It should just be like a bump that you go over smoothly and continue with your journey. And I think that the three of you really trust in faith and God in your journeys of doing it afraid. And I like that Jackie said courage is fear that has said its prayers, which goes hand in hand with what Naomi says. Your yes does not have to be fearless, it just has to be faithful. And Rita, it goes hand in hand with Vivian saying the community in church gave her the courage to move on. So I'd like the three of you to just guide us and tell us, how has faith and your belief in God helped you in this journey of doing it afraid, and how do you feel it will help anybody who has a belief system or believes in a higher authority out there and listening in to take and pivot in that, so that they can have a support system while doing it afraid, because sometimes we really grow weary. And you said Jackie, you said in your time in Afghanistan you had limitations of fellowship, so you chose to resort to YouTube, and that is when your faith and your belief in God grew strong, even though there's no tangible physical fellowship. So we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Vivian, and then we'll close out with Naomi on how faith and your belief in God has taken or played a part in this journey of doing it afraid, and how will it help someone out there.
Okay, thank you, Celine. I would say that believing in God goes hand in hand with self-belief. But when you look at the Bible, God tells us that He's not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. I am persuaded that everything that happens to me is aligned to God's purpose, but I have to activate it. I activate it through faith, believing that everything is going to work out for my good. Activating it through constant refill. For me, prayer is total surrender. For me, when I go before God, is total surrender. And, from the perspective of doing it afraid, is basically telling God, Father, this is what I want, and I surrender it to you. I know before, I was born, you had ordained me for this purpose. Help me achieve it. When I first bought the very first book, when, they were printed, I went and gave one to my father. And he read my story and he said, Jackie, if you had not taken the step of faith, you'd never understand what God would do in your life. Two, you'd never have stretched your mind to do a lot more than what you had limited yourself by working in Kenya. And I found that so profound. And I would say that faith is the fuel. Activation through prayer is what gives the miracles. So no matter what we do, as we do it afraid, just make sure that you have enough fuel in your car. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Vivian.
Great.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
Yeah, that is really powerful, Jackie. And I think for me, in fact, before I go, my brother is joined in, and he was asking why I invited him to an all-women's forum. I think maybe Celine will clarify. It is not an all-women's forum. It is for everyone. So thank you, Vincent, for joining in. So I think for me, in terms of faith, I think it's from the background of a praying mother and a very prayerful home where anything. I remember back even in college when I would be tackling crazy engineering exams sometimes, I would call my mom before I go in for the exam and she would tell me, let us kneel down, let us pray. And it kind of set that pace. And no matter what I would be handling, even now, anytime I'm handling anything or even celebrating, I always take it down in prayer. And as much as I was appointed or selected to that leadership position in church, I felt like, yes, I'm prayerful, but I'm not yet reached there, because you look at other people and they look more serious than you are. And you're like, okay, I have not reached that peak level. But and I don't know why you're putting me in this position. But when I got in there and just getting to serve, there's a lot of blessings and a lot of grace that come with it. And sometimes you sit back and then you realize so many people pray for you when you are in that leadership position in church. And sometimes, and many a times, it is these prayers that actually carry you through most of these things. Because sometimes it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're having a lot and juggling a lot. And sometimes you can even forget to pray and have these conversations with God. But because there's a big community that looks up to you, that sees you for what you do, and they are praying with you and praying for you, a lot unfolds and a lot of grace happens. So many a times I have attributed what is happening to me, not out of my prayers, but the prayers of the people that are surrounding me, the prayers of the people that look up to me and are always supporting me. So I believe if we put ourselves out there and serve God, there's countless blessings that come with it. So yeah, I think I'd end it at that point.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Next, on to Naomi.
I agree with Jackie and Vivian. And I would also like to add about, for me, having a community really helped me in growing my faith. In particular, I have my coach who's among them. She's here with us. And through her coaching session, I would love to say I really learned so much about faith that I never learned from church all those years growing up. And through that community, I learned the importance of when you feel like fear is coming to you, always remember what God's word says, because His word is truth, it's the way and the life. So anytime you feel like fear is having a hold on you, always just fight it by God's word, and always pray for the Holy Spirit to guide you, and you'll be able to fight the fear.
Yes. Thank you so much, Naomi. And as she has closed out, believe in God and you'll be able to fight the fear, or rather navigate the fear. And as we wind down, I'd just like to say thank you to the ladies for your openness and willingness to share this wisdom with us. And courage is rarely a solo journey, and we draw strength from those who dare, beside us and before us. Like you all have set the tone in stage for people who have yet to deal or navigate fear. So you giving us real life experiences that we can conquer and we can get past fear and we can not let fear decide the trajectory and the decisions that we are going to make concerning our lives. And with that, I'll just, as you say your closing statements, I'll I'll ask the audience to just put down nuggets they have taken so far from this session, from you all, what you have learned from Jackie, what you have learned from Vivian, and what you have learned from Naomi, as they take this chance to invite us to the launch that is happening on the 30th and encourage us to continue doing it afraid. We will start with Naomi, then Jackie, and we'll finish with the lovely Vivian.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has attended our webinar today. Thank you so much for taking the time. Can you hear me?
Now it's better, yes.
I want to say thank you to everyone who has attended the webinar. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us and to watch us. So we want to invite you to the book launch. It's happening this Saturday. It will be at the Bedmark Suits and Naki. If you haven't registered, please register. I see the link has been dropped in the comments in the chat. And also those who are not available to attend it, maybe you're out of country. You can say my sister and my friends are here. You can help us buy the books through Amazon or through whichever means is able for you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naomi. Jackie?
Thank you. Just allow me to say that I love the Africa structures, like the traditional social structures in Africa. And when you look at them closely, you realize that experiences were passed from one generation to another. Stories of triumph, victories, warriors' stories were passed from one generation to the other through either our grandmothers, our uncles, our aunties, and grandfathers. And it takes me to a quote, which I'll just allow me to read. I just want to read it because it's long, and it's from Chinua Achebe on Things Fall Apart. A man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starving. They all have food in their own homes. When they gather together in the moonlight village ground, it is not because of the moon. Every man can see it in his own compound. We come together because it is good for kinsmen to do so. In a world where we have technology, social media, AI, many times we retreat to ourselves. And to a larger extent, you find that your interaction with kind of humanity is minimized. Saturday the 30th gives us an opportunity to interact as human. Fear is an emotion, but it's not something that can stop us. So I invite all of you to join us as we launch this book. And I believe that it's not just a launch, it's actually about creating a movement, creating a culture. They say that your tribe defines your vibe. So come and join this vibe of doing it afraid. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And like you said, which I also said in the first session, Do It Afraid is not just the the book, it's not the authors, it is not the webinars, it is a movement. It is something you have to practice and live it. Yes. I will have Vivian.
Great. That was very powerful, Naomi and Jackie. And I think I'm just reading something that has popped up from Ali, and I think it's talking about fear being universal, and it's our response. And I think my internet is a bit shaky. Just tell me if you're not getting me clearly.
We are.
Great. So I think I would just want to echo that fear is universal, and it is your approach to it that would matter. And so there are many stories that have been told, and I would want to take this opportunity to invite you all first to get a copy of the book on the link that has been shared. There's amazing stories from very beautiful, amazing women, and they are as raw as they come. So I'm very certain you will be able to pick out something to carry with you, something to relate to, or something to pass on to someone as a legacy. And at the same time, this Saturday at 2 p.m., we'll be at Inaki Suites. We'll be at Trademark Suites. And so try and make your way there. We would be there. We would be expecting you for very amazing conversation. So I look forward to seeing all of you there on Saturday at 2 p.m. And thank you very much for honoring our invite to this webinar and joining and staying with us through to the very end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vivian. That was lovely. And as I just got through the comments you have put down, I would like to, after that, our publishing director, Mr. Doso, the man that is behind all these projects, making them come to life, will be next and say a word or two. So Lydia says, that was a powerful session. Thank you for the invite, Naomi. The power of community, as reiterated, and having faith as you do it afraid, but by faith. Yes. Very intriguing stories. Can't wait to grab my book. Lovely so much. We can't wait for you to have the book with you. Clarice says, thank you all for sharing your experiences. Thank you, Clarice, for being with us in the session today. Ali says, fear is everywhere and affects everyone, but it doesn't have to rule over you. And that is actually the whole aspect, it covers the umbrella of doing it afraid. Fear is everywhere. Fear will come up every day, anytime, but it does not have to rule over. It does not have to dictate what you do, does not have to dictate what you say and your actions. You have to do it afraid. Despite the fear, do it. Triumph over it. And thank you. So we'll have Mr. Dusso say a word before we proceed.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Dusso.
Well, thank you so very much. I am afraid my camera may not be able to transmit my images. Otherwise, I must say that I'm a very proud person, going by what I've had today, and of course, what I have read in the book, but importantly, what I have heard from the people who have interacted with the authors and the book in terms of the kind of impact and the kind of provocation that has gone out through the material and through the conversations that we've had. The past 2 weeks, we have had an opportunity to listen to the lady authors who have featured in the webinars that we've had, and the reactions to the conversations that have happened has been so inspiring in terms of just seeing how light is being shown in the lives of people through the insights that were shared and even through the empowerment that has gone out there in a way that leaves a very powerful impression. When I look at that, I begin to estimate the kind of generational impact that is going to have. Because sometimes you may sit here and think, I helped one person, but you don't know that that one person is a mother to 3, or a friend to 10, or a role model to 15. So that the little thing that you have done through one person gets compounded into the lives of 10 other people or 5 other people, who will carry that light into the future and hopefully plant it in some other people that you may not even get to know. So that what we are doing here, in a small way, through the book, through the conversations that we are having, you can be sure you will either meet with it in some place in future, or it will come back to you and bless somebody in your generation many, many years to come. And while we are doing this, we must be able to remember that this fire is going to light up families and communities and departments in organizations, and sometimes organizations, and hopefully it goes beyond that to even light fires in nations and even the whole world. So I'm saying this with a lot of pride. And I also want to remind all of us that the work that we have put in the project and in the conversations that we have done is not in vain. And if you want to know that what I'm saying is true, after this session is done, go back and watch what has been discussed here today. Even you authors, just go and listen to yourself and hear how powerful you have been today. Sometimes you may not feel it because you are in the frame. But when you get an opportunity to watch this later, you'll be watching it as the conversation that has happened. You will feel that actually it has been very powerful, and you'll also realize that you're also a very powerful person, and you have a lot of resource that is beneficial to the people who are going to be hearing this. To the audience, I want to thank you so very much for seeing value in this conversation and taking that bold step to join in, especially the men who are here who felt like they were going to be part of a women only kind of a conversation. That's not true. Truth is truth. Empowerment is empowerment. It has no gender. And when it lands on you, it gives you life in a way that really, connects with who you are, whether you are a man, a woman, whether you're young, old, or, a senior person in an organization, or just starting off in your career. It doesn't really matter as long as you embrace the truth. As many as will embrace the truth, they will be free indeed. Whether you are in your 40s, your 30s, your 80s, your 10s, your ones, the people who are enjoying the advantage of time. They just started their race recently. They are not like some of us who are now looking into the 50s and the 60s, like Jackie is saying, with a lot of swag. I like that. So I am happy. I am satisfied. Actually, this day is closing on a satisfying note. When I woke up in the morning, I told myself today's the day of the webinar, and I'm looking forward to having a great time. So as we're bringing the curtains down on this, I must let all of you know that I am satisfied. I am going to pass this day as a satisfying day. I'm going to score it as a highly satisfying day. I commend the ladies for the work that you have done, and I also want to commend Celine for doing a great job in moderating this conversation. You look so calm and cool. I don't know what food you're eating these days. You are doing it afraid, and now you're not afraid anymore. I admire your courage. This is what growth looks like, and I'm happy about that. Otherwise, thank you so very much, and back to you, Celine.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deso. And there we have it. On behalf of the entire Do It Afraid team, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you who joined us today for this and the final pre-launch webinar and all the other sessions previously. And also a special thank you to our incredible authors, Jackie, Naomi, and Vivian, and all the other authors involved in the other sessions for sharing your courage, your wisdom in the journeys with such honesty and grace. You have not only inspired us to face fear head on, but we should also keep moving forward in practical ways. And to our audience, thank you for your active participation, your questions, your nuggets, what you've learned, your lessons, and the energy you've brought to every session. Your presence has made this series truly special. And we'd love for you to be part of the official book launch, as everybody else has said, happening on the 30th of August 2025 at Trademark Suits Enaki. And the launch will be a celebration of courage, resilience, and choosing to act even when fear is loud. You can register using the link that has been sent in the chat box for the launch. And if you want to interact with a copy of the book before then, there is also a second link that you can use to purchase the book. Let's not just talk about doing it afraid, let's live in it. And I can't wait to see you all at the launch, book in hand, ready to step into the next chapter of courage. And with that, let us remember to do it afraid. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Don't go yet.
Thank you, Vivian and Naomi. I think it was great having you on set. You gave me a lot of courage. Thank you.
Oh, really? You
Good job.
equally, you equally radiated that courage, as much as you